I'll call this Township Council agenda meeting of April 5th, 2022 to order. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December 22nd, 2021, whereas remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record on December 28th, 2021, and the Newark Star Ledger on December 27th, 2021. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision, Public Access Channel 22 at 11 a.m. on Sundays, and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net. Would you all join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Karifi?
Here.
Ms. Grignani?
Here.
Mr. Musella?
Here.
Mr. Neglia?
Here.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Also in attendance are Business Administrator Fred Carr, Mayor Jamie Barbario, Township Attorney Michael Lavery, and Township Clerk Colette Madden. Council President, we have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings, April 19th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Regular meeting, May 3rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. Agenda meeting. Presentations, Mayor, you're up.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to turn this over around there for now. Oh, wait, Karen. Let's see. This is a proclamation from the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, whereas we all have a responsibility as individual neighbors, community members, and citizens of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills to create healthy, nurturing, and safe experience for children. And whereas healthy and safe childhood helps produce confident and successful adults, and whereas child abuse and neglect often occur when people find themselves in stressful situations without community resources and don't know how to cope, and whereas incidences of child abuse and neglect can be reduced by making sure all families have the support they need and deserve to raise their children in a healthy environment. And whereas it is recognized that no person can do everything, but that everyone can do something. And together we can create change for the better. And whereas effective prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among nonprofit organizations, government agencies, volunteer organizations, schools, service clubs, houses of worship, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas display a pinwheel or planting a pinwheel garden in April will serve as a positive reminder that all children deserve great childhoods, happy, healthy, and safe. Now therefore, I, James R. Barbario, the Mayor of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, do hereby proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, and urge all citizens to engage in activities that strengthen families and communities to provide the optimal environment for children to learn, grow, and thrive so that all children have the benefit of a happy, healthy, and safe childhood. Dated this 5th day of April, 2022. And this is presented to you, Karen. And Council, welcome down.
Okay.
Always get everybody in, right?
Good thing I cleaned my shoes.
And I thank you for all your, ads and these noise councils as well. Maybe that was no.
Is it really?
Council President? You want to come right here in between? Right there.
Make sure you get him in. Seems to be a thing happening nowadays. Thank you. Thank
If anybody would like to get some literature on, prevention of childhood abuse, there's information up here, and there's buttons that you can wear. We would appreciate that. Thank you.
That's the end of your report?
No, I do have a report here, Council
Okay.
President, with regards to, trap, neuter, and release ordinance amendment. I will be setting up a meeting with the committee, the Trap, Neuter, and Release Committee, to discuss further, changes to the ordinance. The reason why I haven't done anything yet, from what I understand, that the Judge Scala, adjourned the March 31st hearing, so I'm just waiting to hear from the courts as well. As you know, the No Golf Utility Catering bids were opened on March 23rd, and we'll hopefully have a bid approval tonight. The PBA Local 131 contract negotiation, there will be a meeting set up between the BA and the labor attorney to, start, the negotiations. It's important we get this done very shortly. As you know, I said before, the police department is down to 83 deployable police officers, which is really not a good place for the township to be when it comes to public safety. As you know, on April 29th, I said this the last meeting, there will be an Arbor Day celebration at 10 o'clock in Town Hall. We did have the Ukraine race wagon. I appreciate all the council members that came and all the residents and the Ukraine residents. It was a really successful event. Also, I met with the township auditor to discuss the budget with him, because I'm still waiting on numbers. And I will be setting up a finance committee meeting to discuss the budget. Now, I just want to get this out here now, with the budget, I don't really have the numbers, but I'm just guessing right now, you're looking at a 15 to 19% tax increase, if that. But that being said, I reviewed the budget numbers with the auditor, and as you know, we have a deficit in revenues, which I'm not surprised. Hotel tax deficit is anticipated revenue is underestimated at $1,062,000. And there's also a deficit in 8 other categories of revenue totaling $953,000, which gives us a revenue shortfall of $2,015,000. Now, I'm sure the council's aware, because there are 4 categories of one-time revenues that are gone and not available for 2022 budget, totaling $1,740,000. And I know you're aware it's the general capital fund balance, reserved for debt services was used, reserved for tax appeals, reserved for police outside employment. Basically, Mayor Sariano miscategorized reserves as revenues. We are currently working to complete our budget for this year, and the problem I see we're having is that the financial records are not complete due to Mayor Sariano's mismanagement. And what we need to understand is how Parsippany's money was spent before we can complete a budget, and a responsible budget. Over the past 4 years, Mayor Sariano increased spending by $20 million. The problem is the drastic increase spending was not supported by increase in revenues. And I'm telling you right now, this is no April Fool's joke. I'm going to get this budget under control. We're going to somehow get it under control. While Mayor Sariano was busy playing Nero, Rome was burning down. While he was busy building a party, Parsippany was burning down. We have a lot that we have to do here in the township, and it's going to be all hands on board. I could tell you that, because we're at the point right now. Parsippany is at the precipice of, going in the wrong direction, but we're gonna flip it around, we're gonna change it, we're gonna make it work, we have to make some tough decisions. I'm willing to make those decisions, but they're gonna be very difficult ones going forward. I don't know how we can even increase taxes 15 to 19% when we're past the point where we can even go to referendum. So, that being said, I'm gonna schedule the first, committee meeting, finance committee meeting, hopefully next week, with, the business administrator and with our, CFO, because things aren't so bright. And I can tell you this much, I don't care what anybody says, and if the former mayor wants to come up here, feel free. Feel free, because 4 years of mismanagement, and this is where we're at right now. So, that being said, that's my report for tonight.
Okay, you are aware that, the finance committee includes Loretta Graniani and Frank Nagel?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mayor, for all the bad news. We knew it was coming. We fought with him for 4 years, and, we knew this first year was gonna be putting out fires, and that's what we're gonna have to do. Any reports from the Township Council?
Not at this time.
I have a report from the Municipal Transparency Committee.
Okay,
Thank you. We had a meeting, and the members of the Municipal Transparency Committee relayed 5 bullet points that they wanted to provide as a means of improvement of our township website. So their first point is that the Municipal Transparency Committee is not listed as a committee under the boards and committees on our website. Number 2 is the transparency page should be linked as budgets to be easier to find for the public. Number 3, documents should be listed in chronological order. Number 4 is Oprah is listed on the transparency page, and it should also be on the home page. And then number 5, the registers section is currently out of date. And that's my report.
Councilman, could you just email me those?
Sure.
I don't write that fast, thank you.
should we wait until we get Alpha Dog, or is it,
Well, here's the issue. We would have had to have Alpha Dog in place by February 28th, if I'm correct. And we did, and they weren't in place. So we're gonna have to have them for next year, but they're in the process of working towards next year. Civic Plus, I'm going to be having a discussion with them to get the website to be the way we really want it to be. But next year, we will be, probably around October, we're gonna be sending all the files over to Alpha Dog to start the process.
okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Karifi.
I have a report. We had a emergency services meeting with all the chiefs of all the fire districts, EMS, rescue, recovery, and they relayed to me that the number of volunteers that we have in town is way down. Currently way down. They're not getting the membership like they used to in years past. And we talked about ways that we can get it out there to people that were looking for volunteers. I know that I had spoken to Frank Cahill from Parsippany Focus, and he's going to run a free recruitment ad for us on a regular basis in Parsippany Focus. We're just waiting on the fire chiefs to get that ad to him. And I was wondering if we could do something maybe on the town website, if we could get that out there, and anything that we can possibly do through the town to promote the volunteers, because we all know without the volunteers, we wouldn't have these services, which would mean we'd have to pay for them. And we just talked about how bad financially we are. So just think of how much money that these people save us here as taxpayers in the town. So anything that we can do as far as with the town website, Mayor, and
What we can do is, since the budget was so tight, what I had to do was the fact that I took the public information officer and combined it with the police department. So we have for both, the police department and my administration. We can direct that individual to start posting Facebook, not ads, but Facebook, posts to encourage volunteer. We can do it throughout, she's very, very good. So create like a little little video, and we can put all the, volunteer organizations on there, their addresses and everything like that. So that, yeah, we could definitely do that.
Thank you.
Any other council reports? Okay, Township Attorney,
No report, Council President.
thank you. Business Administrator,
No, sir.
okay. Township Clerk,
No report, Council President.
Township Officers and Committees. Well, I have one, if no one else has any. Craftsman Farms, will be having a groundbreaking on Saturday, 4 PM. That's the renovation of one of their buildings that will now be put into full use. The groundbreaking is 4 PM. And I have promised to bring the ceremonial shovel, for the groundbreaking. Okay, engineering report, Mr. Karifi.
We can, Council
You
President,
keep putting it on, we may as well read it.
you want to read it now?
Yeah,
Okay, I just did it for the edification of the public for next month. We can just do it at the next meeting. It'll be easier that way. So
then you need to include it next meeting.
we will.
All right, okay, then we'll pass on it this time. Bids taken, March 23rd, 2022. Operation of catering, banquet, restaurant, and tea house facilities, and provision of related services at the Knoll Country Club. To be taken, April 7th, 2022, supplying pumps, motors, generators, HVAC units, boilers, water heaters, water storage tanks, and parts and repairs for various departments. 4/13/2022, lease of public property. And now we're going to go into closed session. Justin?
Yes, Council President. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the Township Council wishes to discuss attorney-client privilege, Knoll Golf Club, and Wellness Coordinator contract, and whereas minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills that the public be excluded from this meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn into closed session by myself, seconded by...
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Musella, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're now going to adjourn into closed session. We do anticipate that action will be taken after the meeting.
Closed session?
Second.
So I need a motion.
Motion?
Motion from Mr. Karifi, seconded by Mr. Musella. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
We're going to reconvene in open session. Before we do, just want to give the floor to our township attorney, Mr. Lavery.
Thank you. Council President, we returned from executive session at 7:50 PM where we discussed two matters. Both were attorney-client privilege. One was dealing with the Knoll catering contract. The second was the wellness coach contract. No official action was taken. Copies of these minutes will be available at such time as the council determines there is no harm to the public interest.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to go into open this meeting to the public.
Make a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia.
Yeah.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Floor is open to the public on any matter. Okay.
Anyone wishing to speak, may come forward. You have 5 minutes. Sign in, state your name and address.
Seeing no one?
All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the open session.
Motion?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Mr. Musella. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Mr. Musella.
Yes.
Mr. Neglia.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Okay, since this is an agenda meeting, we will not be doing the ordinances.
No,
That'll be at our next meeting. We are doing the non-consent agenda, right?
we are going to do the non-consent agenda. We do have two ordinances at the at the request of the administration that we do need to pass today. 2022-09 and 2022-10 do need to be passed today.
What about 8?
Oh, and 2020-08, 2022-08, thank you, Mr. Carr.
Huh? Go ahead.
I can read it.
All right, ordinance 2022:08, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 4 entitled Police Department of the Township Code to create a new Section 4-28-1 entitled Appointments to Department Qualifications. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on April 5th, 2022, and that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on May 3rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. Prevailing time or soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve resolution by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Mr. Musella. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ordinance 2022:09, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 4, Administration of Government of the Township Code to create Section 4-64.1 entitled Conflict of Interest. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on April 5th, 2022. And that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on May 3rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. prevailing time or soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve above resolution by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Mr. Musella. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ordinance 2022:10, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 4, Administration of Government of the Township Code to create Section 4-62.2 entitled Anti-Nepotism Policy. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on April 5th, 2022, and that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on May 3rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. prevailing time, or soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given the opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right.
All right, now with consent agenda.
Yes.
Mr. Naylor, you want to read that?
Read what?
We're going to read the non-consent, the resolution.
Non-consent agenda.
Mr. Neglia.
All right.
Mr.
Want me to
Neglia.
read it? I thought you said Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Huh? I said Nagley, not Naylor.
Oh, I'm like, when I read it, I'm like, my hearing's,
Let's wake up down here.
Non-consent agenda, resolution R 2022-060, authorizing award of an agreement to Katina Caterers LLC by Andreas Rotistis for operating of catering, banquet, restaurant, and tea house facilities and provision of related services at the Knoll Country Club. Motion to approve resolution by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Neglia, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Consent agenda.
All right, we're up to approval of payroll list.
No. then? Or we're not voting on it? Okay,
No,
okay, okay. Authorizing nope, that's not me. Approval of payroll and bills list. CFO 1 Uribe recommends authorization for payment. Authorized payment of the 4/1/22 regular payroll estimated at $1,650,000. 2, payroll of bills from voucher list of 4/1/22 through 4/3/22, estimate totaling $2,449,209.81. Motion to approve. Myself?
Second.
Motion made by, Ms. Grignani, seconded by Mr. Karifi. Roll call, Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, and the ultimate motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made by, Mr. Musella, seconded by Mr. Neglia. Roll call, Mr. Karifi?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Musella?
Yes.
Mr. Neglia?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
We're adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.
Mike.
I spoke